I want to wish you all a happy Holy Saturday as we are arriving at the end of our journey through Lent. I'm so grateful for you all sticking it out with us and getting to this last final day. Our final reading passage in our guide is actually from Matthew chapter 27, verses 62 through 66. And so I'll read that for us now. The next day, that is, after the day of preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered before Pilate and said, "Sir, we remember what that impostor said while he was still alive. After 3 days, I will rise again. Therefore, command the tomb to be made secure until the 3rd day. Otherwise, his disciples may go and steal him away and tell the people he has been raised from the dead. And the last deception would be worse than the first." Pilate said to them, "You have a guard of soldiers. Go, make it as secure as you can." So they went with the guard and made the tomb secure by sealing the stone. I think it's so interesting that even in Jesus' death, the Pharisees are still concerned about his influence and his power in the world. And so the Pharisees may not have believed that he was going to rise again, but they certainly believed that any such rumor could have upended their entire world. And so they send these guards to make sure that nobody's going to steal the body away. And so it's important for us to note that, and also because it gives additional legitimacy to the fact of the resurrection, because all of these precautions were taken to make sure, and yet it still happened. But we are still in Saturday. And in some traditions, it's called Silent Saturday. And it's called that because we don't, on this Saturday, get a direct word from God. There's not any recorded words of the disciples or the followers of Jesus. And so I've always wondered what they are doing on this day. And I think it's much similar to what a lot of us do on days that are filled with grief. It's the silence after the death of a loved one, when all of the visitors are gone and family members have gone back home and people have stopped checking in on us. And it's just that full, weighty emptiness of that day, of mourning, of realizing that there's nothing that we can do at this point to bring somebody back, that there's no way we can solve whatever this is. And so on this Silent Saturday, I imagine the disciples maybe selling their traveling gear and trading it back in for fishing gear because they need to get back to work and their livelihoods. Maybe a few are gathered around a candle in a room, whispering stories of Jesus. Maybe others just couldn't get out of bed. It was just too hard to face the reality, and so they stayed put inside in their grief. And I think the beauty of a Holy Saturday is that even when God is silent, and even when there's nothing else you or I could do to change what has happened, God's power is still working, because you and I get to be resurrection people, people who have lived to see the other side of Easter. We know it's coming. And so I hope today you can honor the power that's in a Silent Saturday, that you would find some time and some space to go a little bit more slowly, to maybe turn off social media or stop your intake of the news, and to rest in these words by the poet Wendell Berry that I want to share with you right now. The seed is in the ground. Now may we rest and hope while darkness does its work. Now may we rest and hope while darkness does its work. That's my hope for you today, that you may rest and hope.